We know that the seriousness of the injury is a critical factor. What about the second factor? Why is it so important that the collision visually appears serious? And the answer is, jurors are human beings. So long as the law allows jurors to look at photographs of a vehicle after a crash, the jury's going to draw some inferences from that photograph. Right or wrong, they're going to do it. A good example is this. Some cars have excellent crumple zones built in. That means the body deforms on the car to absorb energy so that the energy doesn't get passed to the occupant. That's a safety feature. Some cars are better at this than others. Some cars barely show any damage at all, but transfer a lot of energy to the passengers. I'm not passing judgment on whether this is right or wrong. I'm just telling you, based on experience, juries do take into account how serious the property damage is. And an important corollary of that is the insurance company knows. One of the first things they do is they take a look at how bad the pictures look. They know this is going to drastically affect what a jury will think about that claim. So, when you're evaluating even a significant injury, you always have to take into account what does the property damage look like. Not necessarily how much was the repair, but what does it actually look like. The next factor you take into account typically only matters once the case is in litigation. And that is, what kind of personality does the injured person have? And what kind of personality does the defendant have? In the state of Georgia, when you file a suit, you do not sue the insurance company. You have to sue the defendant. And that's why it's so critical that the jury like you, the person that is injured, and dislike the defendant. If they like the defendant more than you, as a practical matter, a jury is unlikely to return a sizable verdict for you. And the adjuster tends not to know the personalities involved until you get into litigation. But once you're in litigation, this is a very important factor. If you are an unpleasant, angry, cantankerous person, there's a chance a jury's not going to like you. And the reverse is true. If you're a very nice person and the defendant is a jerk, the jury is likely to take better care of the injured plaintiff. That makes sense. We discussed a little earlier about counties. Rural juries, on average, tend to be more conservative. They tend to be a little tighter with the money, and they're a little more hesitant to award damages except in very serious cases. We find that in wrongful death cases with clear responsibility, or in catastrophic level injury cases, rural juries are every bit as good as an urban jury. Another factor is finally going to be the attitude of the insurance company. Some insurance companies are generous. They like to get claims resolved. They do not like to have claims on their books. The majority of car insurance companies are very tight-fisted. Over 60% of the cases we handle that are car accidents go into litigation. We are unable to get fair offers out of the insurance company, and we find that the insurance company needs to get more data. They need to understand that our clients are good people, that they're not making up their claims, that they have a legitimate injury that needs to be addressed. And once that impression is made on the lawyer for the other side, we find that they're fairly good jury results. I hope that this video has helped you to understand some of the factors that go into understanding what makes an offer come out of an insurance company at a particular level. At the end of the day, what they're always looking at is, what would a jury eventually do on this case? They look at the range of numbers. Let's say, for example, there's a car accident. Their experience tells them a jury would award between $20,000 and $40,000. They're going to want the cheapest possible deal. So you're going to see an offer come back on that case of about $18,000. They're probably not going to go above 20 or 21. If they're going to pay you in full with cash early on, they're going to want the low end of that case spectrum. So when you're sending out a demand to an insurance company, take into account all of these factors and understand that the perspective of the insurance company is, if we're paying today voluntarily, we want a pretty steep discount. I'm Chris Simon. I hope this has been an informative video for you, and please feel free to call us with any questions.